Hello, day in a life, day 18. So today it's been an interesting 24 hours. Truthfully, I have been dealing with destructive thoughts. Thoughts of just like separating myself, because it's also not like I don't understand. I guess this is what I don't understand. What constitutes true connection with people, right? Like what really determines true connection? What defines healthy like connection? Like support for one another. What really defines that? Because this is probably something that I guess in my past, it's just never been something that I've ever experienced, and I'm trusting in the Lord that I will experience it in my walk with the Lord, with the people that He connects me with. But it's still difficult, and even though yesterday or the day before yesterday on day 16 I posted about how I encouraged my brothers, my sisters in Christ, how excited I am to see them and celebrate with them at church, right? And I genuinely mean that. It's just kind of wild how I constantly experience this feeling of loneliness and isolation, of like not really meeting or being in a relationship, friendship with someone that I really connect with, like on multiple levels, right? Like every person, like so many people that I meet, right? There's always something that just like creates a wall, like there has not been anybody that I have met that I have been able to just be like, oh, I'm breaking all the walls down. There are no walls, and it's not for lack of trying, it is not for lack of trying. I have put myself in relationships with people with the sole intent of breaking down these walls that have been built because of my life before Christ, and then something happens, right, that the walls get built right back up. And that does something to somebody, and it's just like, what I have to do now, right? Because then the wall that gets built is because now that conflict revealed a mindset, a perception that the other person had that completely way off from anything that I would ever perceive myself. And I tend to be like a relatively aware person, something that I've actually had to crucify when I gave my life to the Lord, because before I gave my life to the Lord, I was way too aware. It was unhealthy, the level of awareness. Like it was prideful, the amount of awareness that I had. And even though I carried myself with kindness and humility, just even having that kind of way of thinking can be a source of destruction. And so when I gave my life to the Lord, I asked Him to take that away from me. I was stubborn at first, I'm not gonna lie. I was stubborn at first, but then I realized, the harm that it was doing, and then I asked Him to take it away from me, and He did, So now it's like, as I navigate life, like, I'm just like, all right, well, you know what? I'm going to chill, you know, and I'm going to discover myself again through the lens of Christ with every interaction that I go through, because in the beginning of this walk, I've done so much, you know, not like out of my own labor, out of my own effort, but I did what is prescribed by the Lord, you know, to like foundationally cleanse yourself of things that are not of Him, right? Reading in the Word, right? Fasting, praying, you know, breaking demonic covenants, all that stuff, right? Did so much of that, you know. I did so much of that, and not believing that those were going to be the things that were going to like change, you know. At the end of the day, the only thing that actually makes the change possible is Christ, you know. It's just that in doing those things, right, doing those activities, right, you align yourself with what the Lord wants for you, you know, instead of taking a position of like, oh, there's something wrong with me, right, I'm good. It's like, wait, there is something wrong with me, and I need the language and the study and the spiritual authority in Christ to humble myself and position me to where I should be and where I need to be in order for the Lord to use me, you know, to get to a point where like, no, like now I'm a clean slate, you know, not the cleanest slate, right? Because there are other levels, right? But at least, you know, I'm not where I started, you know, I have a new starting point, and I can build, and I can take it levels deeper from this starting point, you know, from the starting point of like absolute humility, you know. And so like when a conflict comes up, right, and I experience the feelings that arise from that conflict, you know, it's like a moment of discovery for me. And so yeah, all this to say that, you know, when there's a conflict and now it's revealed that there is a fundamental misunderstanding that is unrepentant, you know, then it's like, you know, now it's like, bruh, like all of that labor, right, all of those efforts, all those conversations to you know, entrusting the Lord, you know, and building these relationships, it just all just like falls away. All of that just falls away. It really does, you know. Doesn't mean that I no longer care for that person, you know, but it means that, you know, now I just gotta move different. I gotta move different. You know, I gotta move different, and because I'm gonna get hurt again. You know, I'm gonna get hurt again. I'm always gonna get hurt. This part of life is getting hurt. You know, but it's a solution, right? That we end up, you know, going to is that when we get hurt, we go to Christ, right? Because the situations that now that we're in Christ that hurt us, right? It's either meant to test our faith, right? And our trust in the Lord, or it's meant to expose something that the Lord wants to heal in us, you know? So, thus continues the journey of creating deep, intimate relationships and friendships with people in the Lord.